Hi there. My name is Chris Long. Oh, my name is Chris Long, and there's no time to start a YouTube channel like the present moment. So today was the day. Every time I went to do this, it was like things weren't working out, and then today I was like, okay, there's no better time to do this than right now. So this channel is going to be me sharing my healing journey, tools, techniques, skills, wisdom, stories, maybe some interviews, interviewing some other people doing healing work, and just to be vulnerably sharing and showing people what healing looks like in real time. So a little bit about my story. I forever, I'm currently 48 years old. When I was 6 years old, I started to seek out God, finding God, because I thought there was something wrong with me. I was having these experiences. I didn't understand what was going on. And I had this belief God was going to save me. And then it was just like one experience after the other, after the other, after the other. And in grade 7, I had an experience where my peer group wrote a letter, and it was really nasty. And I went into this deep state of suffering, and I was contemplating ending my life. And not very long after that, my brother's best friend actually took his life within months, within like, I think it was 2 months. And then I knew that was not the path. And so at age 16, I started working at a health food store, and I started learning about energy and nutrition and food as medicine and alternative healing practices and all the things. And then I was still feeling like I didn't belong. I didn't fit in the world, but I felt this calling on my life. Like I knew things, I felt things, but I felt like such an outsider. So at 18, I started taking Reiki and cultivating a lot of different skills and wisdom. In my 20s, I well, I guess at 19, I bought my first business. I was teaching and selling ear candles and performing ear candling. And then I went from that to being a mom, and I was still using that while being a mom. And then I had my kids early, and there seemed to be a lot of different health concerns. So I started to apply the knowledge that I learned when I worked at the health food store on food as medicine, energy healing, all the things. And I started studying the subconscious mind, how to create my own reality, but nothing was really changing. And then I've left out so many details. I'm just giving the Coles notes. But then at age 30, I would go through a divorce that would rock my entire world and turn my whole life upside down. And so the first year I cried. I couldn't believe what I was going through. I was in deep, deep, deep pain and suffering. And then about 2 years into separating from my husband at the time, I was like, I can cry the rest of my life, or I can find purpose in this pain. And so then I started to really start to study alternative therapies and medicine. And I went to school and I learned reflexology and body reflexology, aromatouch. I learned about essential oils. I studied traditional Chinese medicine. I had taken neurolinguistic programming. Oh my God, there's so many things. I literally have so much training in so many things. And I just kept going on this journey. But it was like my reality just kept looping, and I just kept going through the same like relationship issues and the same health issues and it's like the same thing on repeat. And it's like my soul's saying I'm here for more. What the heck's going on? So the beginning of January of 2022, it was actually the end of December of 2021. A client had come, and I channel. I get direct messages from spirit. I see things. I have the ability to do mediumship. I have like all these skills, like so many skills. And yet I'm still suffering. I'm still going through these experiences. So at the end of 2021, my clients like, you got to meet this woman and learn quantum healing. So I went into her program in January, and it was the most money I'd ever spent on anything. I had been learning, training, and cultivating all kinds of skills, techniques, wisdom, tools. And I learned how I was creating my reality by all these programs in my mind. So I heard about it, but then I started to witness it. And then that led from one coach to the next coach to the next coach. So today it's March 12th, 2025. And I just got off of a workshop that I was accepted into, the Conscious Business Accelerator. And it's like, you just got to start. And I've been waiting until I felt really good to do this, because I've been cultivating all this wisdom out of everything that's been going on over the last little while. And sometimes you just got to show up and you just got to start making videos. So today I decided I'm just going to show up and I'm going to start sharing wisdom. I already have a platform on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that I'd started. But I felt like talking about my story a little bit more, sharing wisdom in a different way, because I can go live here. And this is about reaching a different audience, and the audience that I'm wanting to connect to is individuals stuck in the loop of pain and suffering. I was stuck there for a long time. And in the beginning of January 2022, when I started this quantum healing journey, cultivating this new wisdom about how to change timelines and how to do all these things, I was still suffering. I was still suffering and looping. But what I would come to realize over the last 3 years of this intense journey of being coached and coaching other people through their mental subconscious programming and patterns is that I have complex trauma, and there is not a one size fits all to heal it. However, some of the skills that I coach and I teach are deeply, deeply transformative, and they work. They powerfully work. I'm coaching some light workers and change makers here to create a difference in the world, and I'm watching it change their lives. And so as I'm going through this journey of awakening, because our trauma really is our awakening, that's the message that I really want to share. Your pain, your suffering, your trauma is the catalyst for an awakening, to awaken to new wisdom, new intelligence. You have a program that's running in your brain that's, if you're listening to it, it's going to create separation and have you think something's going wrong, or telling you that you're not enough, and all the programs that are going on in your mind. And it's like, the deeper I go into this work, the deeper I'm like, oh my God, that program's there. Oh my God, that program's there. And so I want to teach some skills, wisdom. I want to bring on some other healers that are in my community and start sharing this wisdom. So anyway, that's what this is for. That's what this channel is for. And imperfect action is better than no action at all. So I've been sitting on this. I planned on starting this beginning of January, and then one thing happened, and the next, and the next, and the next. And then finally I'm like, just start the friggin' channel. So after getting off this call today inside of this Conscious Business Accelerator program, it was like, just go do the thing. So that was inspiration for me to just go just go make your first live on YouTube. So here I am, imperfect. Things are not all set up the way I would normally. But I know that if I just show up and I have the courage to show up and I'm willing to be vulnerable, that things start changing. Because when you decide to do things differently than you've always done, it is the catalyst for change. So I'm going to share a little story this morning. I woke up and I was in this like, energy of like, what's going on? Because I've been in this void for like the last 3 weeks. and a little bit of judgment going on in my mind. But my mind today was like, you're a failure. Stop. What are you doing with your life? You don't even deserve to like show up and do all the things. My mind's like telling me all this. And so I go out, I live on an 11-acre organic farm with my girl, Maya, my dog. And we're going up the field and the tears are strolling down my face and my mind's like, at like talking to me. And then Maya took off and she ran into the bush. And I'm like, oh my God. It created all this fear, started generating inside of me. And because the coyotes have been around and we have a cougar that's shown itself a couple of times. And I'm like, I can't see her. And so the fear started to show up. And then my mind's like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? And like telling me all the things. And so I get her, she comes back, I call her, she comes back and we're walking along and the tears are strolling down my face. And I'm like, what am I doing right now? Because I know when you challenge your current thoughts, your current beliefs, your current reality, everything can change. So as I'm walking along, I'm like, what am I believing? What am I thinking right now? And I'm like, oh my God, that is the program in my mind. That is the program of beliefs and programs in my mind that's running. But what if it isn't true? What if it isn't true? And what would I rather believe instead? And so I play the little game and using my tools out of my toolbox. And I'm walking along and I'm like, oh, it's just the program. What would I rather believe? How would I rather feel and what action would I rather take? And as I'm moving along, going through the field, I'm smiling. The tears have stopped. The energy has passed through because I challenged the experience I was having. And as I was walking, I'm like, well, what action could I take? Well, I taken some stuff to create some content out in the backfield because I've got a little spot where I like to set up. So I started making videos and then we're walking through the field and I'm like, wow, I'm so abundant. Like, look at where I live. I create my own schedule. I get to transform people's lives. I have this amazing skill set where I can tune into people's energy, into their fields, and I can see what's blocking them. I have all these things. And although I haven't got it all figured out on how to sell it, how to help people see how I can serve them, I'm doing the work and I'm showing up. And so I walk down to one of my favorite trees and I do my push-ups against the tree and I connect to the tree because I love to connect to trees every day and nature. And I'm walking back and it's like, just make a video about this. So I started making a video on TikTok and I was like, that felt really good. And as I'm walking back through the field and I'm coming back to the house, I'm like, amazing. I'm so grateful that I have these tools to understand that reality is bringing you a challenge, a circumstance, a situation that might be rocking your world. The reason these skills that I teach are so important and the wisdom that I have to offer is helping you understand you just have to become aware. I'm having this experience. I'm thinking these thoughts. I'm feeling this way. And in that moment, you now have the power to choose more lack, limitation, fear, scarcity, all the things. Or you can be like, you know what? I believe that everything's happening with purpose for me. And I'm going to create something really amazing. This is happening for me so I can create a whole new reality for myself. It's pretty powerful. But it requires you stopping and being conscious, awakening, and being conscious to the moment and your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, all of the things in that moment and being like, is this really serving me? Is this really what I want to believe? Is this really what I want to think? Because if it's not true if it's not a universal law. So if you believe you're not enough, universally, is that true that people think you're not enough? No, of course it's not. Are you a failure? No. No, you're not a failure. You could succeed at any moment. But what if there's programs and beliefs in your mind that are creating a reality of only focusing on the things to show you everything that's going wrong when actually it's showing you the program and the belief system you're running? And you just need to learn to cultivate some tools to challenge it so you can create something wildly different because you can. You can. Healing's possible. Transforming health issues, thinking patterns, belief systems, it's all possible. And it's a journey. For some people, miracle healing happens like this. For some people, it's going to require a little bit more deeper work. So my work is about helping people transform their beliefs, their thoughts, their programs, and the energy that they are creating. You are creating your reality, but you won't understand that you're creating your reality until you get to meet yourself and you get familiar with yourself and get to know, what are you thinking? What are you believing? What's going on up here in your energy, in your mind, in your body? And so these are the kind of things that I'm going to talk about more. And so I just showed up. My hair's not done. I'm not like ready for this, but I was like, you know what? I'm tired of waiting. I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do this today. And as I make this video, if you've been sticking around, my energy is completely changing. And sometimes it's just got to take the first step. So this is my first step today. I hope that this lands for somebody and this is helpful for somebody. I just want you to know, if you're suffering in looping in pain and suffering in your life, there is a way to transform it into purpose, into it working for you. So you don't have to keep living in the loop. The looping's going to happen until you meet yourself and start to cultivate, like, what are you making it mean? What are you believing? Anyway, hi, nice to meet you. If you found this helpful, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment. I wish you all a beautiful day. Just a reminder, you are worthy, you matter, and you are enough. And the universe thought you were a really great idea. That is why you exist. And the awakening happens in moments. It's when you challenge your current reality and decide to believe it's always happening for you. So if I leave you with anything today, start challenging your reality and believing all things work in my favor. All things work in my favor. Everything's always happening for me. Have a beautiful day. Sending you so much love. See you again soon.